Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Bella and I love all things design and DIY, and today I have a homeware haul for you. I'm kind of in the midst of updating a few of my spaces, and so I've been picking up a few things recently that I really wanted to show you because I am obsessed with some of them. This is quite an eclectic selection. Some things are thrifted, some are projects that are in process right now, some are things that I haven't even started on, but I'm really excited to show you, so let's get started. The first space that I want to talk about is my bedroom, which I'm in right now. I think I have this room to kind of a place where I'm really starting to love it. I've acquired quite a few pieces for it in the past year, I would say, that just really make the space feel super me. But of course I'm still picking up random little things at the thrift store here and there. So the other day I got this beautiful seafoam wool blanket. This is vintage, it's in this beautiful gingham print. I am obsessed with this. This was only $7.50 and then I had a coupon as well, so I paid even less for it, which is like unheard of for wool blankets at the thrift store right now. At least where I live, they're usually about like $20, $30, and that's not even at like nice thrift stores. It's just like Value Village or Goodwill. So when I saw that price, I obviously could not walk away from this. And gingham is my absolute favorite print, and I'm also very into this like aqua seafoam teal sort of scheme right now. It does have some tears along the edges, but I don't care about that at all. To me it makes no difference. It just adds a little bit of charm when things look like they've been used a lot, which this clearly has been. I think it just gives it more character and it makes me appreciate it a little bit more. So I am absolutely obsessed with this. It goes beautifully with the bedding that I have right now, and so this was $7 very well spent. The next space that I want to talk about is my hallway going outside of my bedroom. This is a bit of a unique space because going out from my door, it's kind of a long narrow hall and then opens into a small sort of landing room above the staircase, and then there's a door that goes into the hallway with the rest of the rooms upstairs. So it does very much feel like its own little room and entrance into my bedroom. There's a closet out there and I have a wardrobe and my vanity, but I've always found the space a little bit awkward because it's sort of a hall, sort of an entryway, sort of like a dressing room kind of vibe. So I really want to work on putting some effort into that space in the next few months to make it feel a little bit less random. The space has kind of been that spot where I put items and furniture that don't really have a space in the rest of the house, and so it's always just felt a little mismatched and didn't have much thought put into it, and so that's made me not really feel that connected to the space or want to spend time there. So this is one of the very first things that I've actually purchased specifically for the hallway, and it's this beautiful wool rug. I am obsessed with this. I've had my eye on this rug for quite a while. This is at my local fabric store. If you live in Southern Ontario, this was from Len's Mill. So I know there's many locations, so you could possibly find something like this, but they do have a good rug selection, surprisingly. This was $40 for a wool rug. It's 3x5, which is the exact perfect measurement I need for the narrow part of my haul, and so I think this is going to be a really nice jump off point. I really like especially that they're kind of warm toned neutrals with this like mushroom color and the cream. It's not just like a stark white and gray rug. Love the fact that this is wool also. I'm all about natural fibers, and a wool rug is just going to hold up so nicely over time as opposed to polyester. So for $40, I mean, I think this is kind of a lifetime investment, and that's a very good price. One tip I have for you if you're updating a space and you want to kind of do it slowly over time, which is sort of what I'm trying to do right now with many of my spaces, this is a great way to just be really intentional. And also if you're really conscious of your budget, it's also nice to kind of drag it out a little bit so you can be really sure of your purchases and have time to source like really good deals like this rug. One thing that I would do to keep with you all the time is to just start a note in your phone and keep track of as many measurements as you possibly can for the space, so that if something comes up, especially at a thrift store or an antique market, and you won't necessarily be able to know that if you come back it'll still be there, You want to be able to jump on that opportunity right away and have all of the measurements with you so you know exactly what space this specific thing could fit into. That's what I did with this rug. So the second I decided, okay, today's the day, I'm actually gonna buy it, because I kept seeing it every time I went to the fabric store, I had the measurements right there with me and I knew it was going to be exactly perfect. The next thing that I picked up was thrifted. It is a remnant of this really pretty yellow and white gingham cotton material. The color's not showing up as bold on camera, it's kind of blowing it out a little bit. But as I said before with the wool blanket gingham, I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite prints. And so it's definitely a motif that kind of repeats itself throughout my spaces, which I really love. And I don't think I had anything in a yellow gingham yet, so I really love that. I would say this is about a quarter yard, somewhere around there. It's not a lot of fabric to work with, but it does happen to be perfect for the ironing board that I want to cover to put in my hallway. I sew a lot, and so ironing is just a part of a lot of the projects that I do. I also just love ironing, and for Christmas I received this beautiful pink Singer iron that I am just obsessed with, and since I got it, it's been my goal to create like a dedicated beautiful ironing space that can just always be set up. I don't have to haul out an ironing board, and I don't have to hide my gorgeous iron away anywhere because it needs to be out where I can see it. And so that's going to be incorporated into the hallway sort of layout. I have an antique ironing board that my grandma gave me. I think it was my great-grandma's maybe. It's quite small, which I like, so it should be able to fit into this design pretty seamlessly, and this just happens to be the absolute perfect size to cover it with, so I think that's gonna look really, really good. I also have a few furniture pieces I want to talk about that are going to be featured coming up in my studio makeover series. If you want to see the first episode of that, I'll link it down below. This is my sewing room slash office that I'm currently making over and trying to turn into my absolute dream design. And so I've had a lot of fun recently with trying to incorporate some more like sophisticated, serious pieces in that room, because it has always just basically been a room that I sew in, so it's been very functional. And I've tried to really swing in the opposite direction and be super fun and eclectic and use lots of bright colors just to combat the like functionality of it being a sewing room. If you sew or have any sort of other hobby that's kind of like that, where a lot of the functional things aren't necessarily gorgeous, a lot of the convenient like storage solutions and stuff like that are just kind of like boring and plastic, then you'll know what I'm talking about. A lot of that stuff just feels really uninspiring to me, so I tried to compensate with a lot of color and fun prints and just tried to make it the most maximalist, loud, crazy room ever. But as I'm not using the room as much for strictly just sewing and it's kind of evolving into more of a multi-purpose sort of space, I'm really wanting to bring in some more like grounded, serious, kind of darker pieces just to contrast all of the many colors going on, not to take away, but to like complement in a nice grounding way. And so one of these pieces is this desk, which is going to become a bench. This is an IKEA desk that I painted in the same color that my bedroom is. This is Evening Grove by Benjamin Moore. And so my plan for this is to cut the legs off just to shorten it to bench height, and then I made this beautiful cushion. This was fabric that my sister was going to upholster some chairs with, and then she decided not to, so she gave it to me, and it was the perfect size for this cushion, and I just happened to have 2 inserts that fit this perfectly. It wasn't planned at all, but this whole bench, I'm obsessed with how it's turned out. I haven't cut it down yet, so the project's not totally over. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it works out well. But just bringing these really rich earth tones into the room, I'm totally obsessed with it, and you'll have to tune into the second episode of the makeover, which will be coming out very soon, to see how this works with the wall color that I have picked out. Which I guess is not a secret. I don't know why I'm acting sneaky about it. If you watch the first episode, then you'll see the color. It's Kensington Green by Benjamin Moore, and I'm obsessed with it. I also got these 2 black cane back chairs from my sister. She got these for $5 each, which was an amazing deal, and then painted them and kind of restored the caning. Again, she didn't end up using these, so she gave them to me, and I really like the pop of black in the studio. So right now that's my goal, is just bringing in a lot more like dark grounding elements to that space, and so far I'm absolutely loving it. Another thing, this is just a random add-on that I made for the studio in this beautiful aqua toile print. This is just a canvas toile print, and so I made a pillow cover for this feather pillow. This is just an insert from IKEA, but I am just absolutely obsessed with this fabric. I had been crushing on it for like probably a year at the fabric store, and so I finally bought it not knowing what to do with it, and it's just a pillow. It's nothing, you know, revolutionary, but it makes me happy, and this is going to be incorporated somewhere in the studio design. The last things I want to talk about are not actually home decor, but they are home decor adjacent. I picked up a few books and magazines yesterday, so I just thought I'd quickly mention them, because if you're not a magazine person, I would just so recommend it. I love magazines. I'm finding a really hard time sourcing home decor books. For almost anything else that I'm interested in, I'm always able to find really amazing books at thrift stores, so that's usually a great option. But with home design books, I find the only ones that I can find at the thrift store are like ugly decorating books from the 90s and early 2000s that are just really not anything I would want, and not in a cool vintagey way, just ugly. And so I found the alternative is books that are like 60, 70, 80, all the way up to over $100 for a beautiful design book, which I understand. I love investing in a good coffee table book once in a while, but it's not within my regular budget whatsoever. There's this huge like in between in terms of pricing, from like a $10 magazine to an $80 coffee table book, and I haven't been able to find anything in between. So magazines are where it's at for me right now. And my absolute favorite magazine, I'm not going to talk about this too much because it's not that interesting, but it's House and Garden. This is such a good magazine. If you like English homes that are eclectic and kind of maximalist and just fun, lots of color and print, then you will absolutely love this magazine. I can't say enough good things about this, and it's not something that I can find very often where I live, so I was very happy to find this yesterday and I snatched it up right away. The other magazine I got is The English Home. This I've never read before, but it looked to be very much my sort of vibe, and so again I picked this up right away. This was also like 10 bucks. $8 actually, which is very good for a magazine. Yeah, again, same thing. If you like all of that sort of style that I just mentioned, then you will love this magazine. The very last thing I want to talk about is this book. This is Home Comforts, The Art and Science of Keeping House by Cheryl Mendelson, yeah. It's this huge whopping book. It's like 800 and something pages. This is excessive, extremely excessive. This is like the Emily Post of homemaking. It's like extremely in-depth and meticulous, and most of the things in this book most people aren't doing, but it's a really good like manual, like how they used to have homemaking manuals, but this one's like not super sexist and weird. At least I don't think it is, but this has like everything you could possibly need to know about a home. The chapters are food, cloth, cleanliness, daily life, sleep, safe shelter, and formalities. So this is anything from like how long does food store for, to how to get different stains out, different ways to properly make a bed, how often you should be cleaning different things in your home. I can't even begin to like describe how many things are covered in this book, and again they are very extensive, like extremely extensive, and so a lot of people might flip through it and think this is so stupid and extra, but these are the kinds of things that make me very, very happy, because I am very much someone who believes it is all about the little things in life and I love little rituals and habits that I can get into in my spaces to just feel happy and more comfortable, to make other people feel comfortable when they come into those spaces. And so all of this is kind of that to me. I think that's everything I want to talk about today, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you a little bit of inspiration for your home. Check out the books and magazines that I recommended. I will link as many of those things below as I can. I'll link any paint colors, anything that I talked about will be down below. You can subscribe if you want to see more content just like this from me, and I will see you back here next time.